The courtroom was silent, too silent, the kind of silence that feels loud enough to shatter reputations. Cameras were banned, but word travels fast, and within minutes, whispers turned into wildfire. Fans are shocked, blogs are scrambling, and insiders are saying this is the moment everything changed forever. Because today wasn't just another messy court appearance, today was the day Mendeccess could no longer deny Tamars' child. For months, the rumors had swirled like a storm that refused to break. Late-night phone calls, cryptic Instagram captions, Tamars' tearful interviews where she said just enough to keep the world guessing. And Mendeccess? He stood firm, stone-faced, unbothered, repeating the same line over and over again. That is not my child. Or at least, that's what he thought he could keep saying. But according to multiple sources inside the courthouse, everything unraveled in seconds. One document, one name, one piece of evidence that made Tamar grip the edge of the table so hard her knuckles turned white. Witnesses say Mendeccess stopped shaking his leg mid-bounce, his jaw clenched, his eyes fixed straight ahead as if refusing to process what was happening. The judge leaned forward. Tamars' lawyer didn't smile, but he didn't have to. The damage was already done. Outside, fans were glued to their phones. Group chats exploded. Wait, what? No way, this is real. I knew she wasn't lying. Emotions ran high, and the internet did what it always does, picked sides. Because this isn't just about a child. This is about denial, pride, and a truth that refused to stay buried. Sources close to Tamar say she's been carrying this moment for years. Sleepless nights, silent tears, a child asking questions she wasn't ready to answer. Friends begged her to let it go, to move on, to protect her peace, but Tamar was done being quiet. My child deserves the truth, she allegedly told a confidant the night before court. Meanwhile, Mendeccess' camp insists he was blindsided, that he never saw this coming, but critics aren't buying it. Old footage is resurfacing. Side eyes, awkward pauses, moments fans once ignored, but now they look different. And just when everyone thought this case couldn't get messier, a shocking twist emerged, one that could divide families, ruin alliances, and change legacies. Because if what's being whispered behind closed doors is true, this court case isn't the end. It's the beginning. The courtroom was still buzzing from the explosive revelations moments ago, but Tamar wasn't done yet. She had been holding her composure for months, enduring the whispers, the doubts, the pointed looks from family and fans alike. Now, as she sat in her chair, her hands trembling slightly but her eyes fierce, she knew the world was watching. Every heartbeat felt amplified, every whisper outside felt like a roar. And somewhere across the room, Mendeccess shifted uncomfortably in his seat, a faint flicker of something unspoken crossing his usually stoic face. He had denied it for so long. He had convinced himself, and perhaps tried to convince everyone else, that he could evade the truth forever. But some truths, as powerful as they are inconvenient, refuse to remain hidden. Tamars' lawyer cleared his throat and passed a manila folder across the table. It wasn't just any folder. This was the folder that contained evidence so damning, so irrefutable, that it could change the trajectory of every single relationship in the room. The judge glanced over it, frowning slightly, before looking back at Tamar with an almost imperceptible nod, silently granting her permission to proceed. And then, in that tense, heavy silence, she spoke. Her voice was calm, measured, but beneath the surface, it was a storm. Your Honor, she said, I am here not just for myself, but for my child. The child who deserves recognition, love, and truth. And for far too long, that truth has been denied. The room shifted. The air felt thick. Fans who were glued to live streams later described the tension as palpable. There were no gasps yet, just the slow, creeping realization that something monumental was about to unfold. Mendeccess' hands tightened into fists on the table, his jaw ticking like a metronome. He had rehearsed responses, statements, and rehearsed indignation, but he wasn't ready for what was coming. One by one, the witnesses took the stand. Friends who had been silent for years, neighbors who had seen fleeting moments of Tamar's struggle, and even family members who had initially sided with Mendeccess, all painted a picture so vivid and raw that even the most skeptical observers had to pause. Voices cracked, tears fell, accusations flew. We all knew it, one witness said, voice trembling, but nobody dared to speak until Tamar had the courage to face it head-on. Outside the courthouse, fans couldn't contain themselves. Social media erupted. Hashtags exploded, trending worldwide. Hashtag truth revealed, and hashtag DY became the digital battlegrounds for debates, memes, and emotional reactions. Everyone had an opinion, and everyone wanted to take a side. Some defended Mendeccess, clinging to the image of the man they thought they knew. Others cheered Tamar, admiring her courage, her resilience, and her unwavering determination to protect her child's future. Inside, the drama escalated. Tamar's lawyer laid out financial records, private messages, and even video clips that painted a portrait of denial and evasion so blatant it was almost surreal. Mendeccess tried to interject, tried to push back, tried to maintain control, but each attempt only made the tension spike higher. Whispers turned to murmurs, murmurs turned to audible gasps. Emotions ran high, the kind that made grown adults shift nervously in their seats and take deep breaths to steady themselves. Then came the turning point. A DNA test, conducted under strict supervision, was presented. Tamar held the envelope with a steady hand, her eyes locking onto Mendeccess. For a moment, the courtroom seemed to hold its breath. Fans described it later as a frozen moment in time, as if the world paused just to witness the inevitable. She opened it slowly, deliberately, letting the suspense linger for seconds that felt like hours. And then she read aloud the results. The words hit like thunder. Positive. Every eye in the room widened. Every fan watching online felt their jaw drop. The child that Mendeccess had denied, the child whose very existence had been questioned, was unequivocally, irrefutably his. The room erupted. Some cried, some gasped, some looked away in disbelief. The family was left divided, whispers of betrayal echoing through the hallways. Mendeccess' face paled, a mixture of shock, anger, and disbelief washing over him in waves. But the drama didn't end there. Sources later revealed that behind closed doors, Mendeccess' camp was already plotting. Lawyers whispered, staff panicked, and friends scrambled to process the fallout. Tamar, meanwhile, remained calm, collected, and unwavering. She knew the truth had weight, and she had the stamina to carry it. "I did what I had to do," she told a close friend after leaving the courthouse, "because this child deserves a future where they are recognized, where they are loved, and where lies no longer hold power." As news outlets picked up the story, the scandal only intensified. Every angle was dissected, every detail scrutinized. Late-night shows speculated on the emotional toll, reality TV personalities weighed in with dramatized reenactments, and fans created art, memes, and tributes celebrating Tamar's courage. The narrative was no longer just about a child, it was about truth, justice, and the courage to stand when the world expects you to bend. And just when everyone thought the shockwaves had settled, another twist emerged. Whispers of secret communications, leaked text messages, and private recordings suggested that some family members may have known about the truth long before the courtroom showdown. Betrayals stacked upon betrayals, and suddenly, the entire story became even more tangled. Emotions ran higher than ever, and the line between friend and foe blurred. Through it all, Tamar remained the center of the storm. Fans praised her poise, her bravery, and her strategic brilliance. She wasn't just defending her child, she was rewriting the narrative, reclaiming power that had been denied for years. Meanwhile, Mendeccess faced mounting pressure, not only from the court but from fans, family, and the relentless spotlight of social media. Every move he made was analyzed, every expression dissected, every reaction scrutinized. By the end of the first day of revelations, the world had changed. Social media trends, heated debates, and emotional outpourings made it clear, this case was more than just a legal battle. It was a cultural moment, a defining drama that fans would talk about for years. And Tamar, once underestimated, now stood tall, a symbol of courage, resilience, and undeniable truth. The stage was set for the next chapter, the twists that had yet to come, and the reactions that would continue to shake families, friendships, and fanbases alike. The child, once denied, now had a voice through the courage of their mother, and the world was watching, breathless, waiting for the next move in a saga that was far from over. As the courtroom emptied for a brief recess, whispers filled the hallways. Tamar walked with her head held high, her steps echoing determination. Fans outside tried to catch a glimpse, cameras flashing relentlessly, but she didn't flinch. She knew the real battle was only beginning. Inside, Mendeccess retreated to a private room with his lawyers, their faces tense, voices low but frantic. "We need a plan," one whispered, eyes darting nervously. "The public is already turning. If this leaks, it could ruin everything," but Tamar had anticipated every move. She had rehearsed, strategized, and prepared herself for the emotional onslaught. Friends later described her as a hurricane in human form, calm yet unstoppable. The child's future was her anchor, her driving force, and no amount of pressure or manipulation could sway her. She had endured years of denial, accusations, and public scrutiny, and now she was wielding the truth like a weapon. Court reconvened, and the tension was palpable. Mendeccess took the stand, attempting to salvage his reputation. He spoke slowly, carefully, trying to convey reason and composure, but every word seemed hollow. I never intended to deny anything," he began, but the courtroom wasn't buying it. Murmurs ran through the audience, some shaking their heads, others whispering, "He's lying." The judge's eyes narrowed, as if silently daring him to continue. Tamars' lawyer pounced on inconsistencies, highlighting past statements, social media posts, and private communications that contradicted his claims. Each revelation was met with gasps, some from fans, some from family members who hadn't expected such blunt exposure. The family was left divided, one witness said later. Alliances shifted in real time, and it was shocking to see who truly supported Tamar. Meanwhile, outside the courthouse, chaos erupted. Social media exploded with new videos, reactions, and live commentary. Fans debated endlessly. Was Mendeccess guilty of deception, or was he a man overwhelmed by circumstances? News outlets ran headlines dripping with drama. Child denial scandal shocks nation, and Tamar exposes family secrets in explosive court battle. Memes circulated, some humorous, others scathing, but all pointing to the same truth. The world was captivated. Inside, the drama escalated further when a surprise witness appeared. A former friend of Mendeccess, who had remained silent for years, stepped forward with testimony that painted a picture of private moments, hidden conversations, and deliberate avoidance. Emotions ran high as she recounted moments where Mendeccess had allegedly avoided taking responsibility, brushed off concerns, and even tried to manipulate those closest to Tamar. Every word added weight to the growing mountain of evidence, leaving the courtroom in stunned silence. Tamar's supporters cheered quietly, some discreetly, others audibly, their energy palpable. They had seen her struggle, watched her face public attacks, and now they witnessed her strength as undeniable truth came to light. Meanwhile, Mendeccess' defense team scrambled, trying to contain the damage, but each attempt seemed to dig a deeper hole. Fans described it later as watching a slow-motion unraveling, a domino effect of revelations that left no room for doubt. As the day progressed, arguments became heated. Voices rose, tears flowed, and accusations flew like sparks from a wildfire. One family member, previously loyal to Mendeccess, spoke out in support of Tamar, citing years of ignored evidence. "I can't stand by anymore," they said, voice shaking but firm. "The truth must be recognized, no matter how uncomfortable it is." Their statement added another layer of drama, further dividing the family and fueling public fascination. But perhaps the most shocking twist came when a private recording was introduced. Fans described it later as a bombshell moment. In the recording, Mendeccess' voice admitted uncertainty, hesitation, and fear of public scrutiny, while Tamar's determination and courage were clear as day. The contrast was striking. Emotions ran high, tears streaked faces, and even the most hardened observers had to pause. The courtroom was now more than a legal battlefield, it had become a stage for emotional reckoning, personal confrontations, and a spectacle of raw, human drama. Media coverage intensified. Pundits debated endlessly on TV shows, online forums exploded with fan theories, and social media influencers reenacted moments, dissecting gestures, expressions, and tone. Some criticized Mendeccess for denial, others sympathized, and yet all agreed on one thing: Tamar had seized control of the narrative. She was no longer just defending a child, she was orchestrating a cultural event that captivated millions. As night fell, the courtroom drama spilled into the streets. Fans lined up outside, hoping for a glimpse of Tamar, some chanting in support, others holding signs demanding justice. Paparazzi tried to capture every reaction, every expression, and every movement, turning what was once a private battle into a public spectacle. Tamar remained composed, aware that her every step was being scrutinized, her every word dissected. Yet she carried herself with grace, a quiet confidence that contrasted sharply with the chaos surrounding her. But the twists weren't over. Leaked messages suggested that even some close friends had attempted to sway Tamar behind the scenes, creating layers of betrayal and intrigue. Who could she trust? Who had her best interests at heart? Every revelation added tension, keeping the audience on edge, eager for the next explosive moment. Fans described it as watching a real-life soap opera unfold in real time, and many admitted to staying glued to their screens for hours, unable to look away. Tamar's resilience became the story's centerpiece. Each challenge, each betrayal, each attempt to undermine her only strengthened her resolve. She wasn't just fighting for recognition of her child, she was fighting for dignity, respect, and the right to control her narrative. As the day ended, insiders noted that the power dynamics had shifted dramatically. Mendeccess, once perceived as untouchable, now faced mounting pressure, scrutiny, and a fanbase divided by shock and disbelief. The first 24 hours after the courtroom revelations set the stage for an unfolding saga of emotions, twists, and confrontations. Fans speculated endlessly, analysts broke down every word, and family members adjusted to the shifting allegiances and public scrutiny. Tamar had ignited a cultural moment, one that would ripple far beyond the walls of the courthouse. The child, at the center of it all, was no longer just a silent figure. Through Tamar's unwavering courage, their existence was celebrated, protected, and acknowledged publicly. And as the night deepened, everyone, fans, family, media, and casual observers, waited with bated breath for what would happen next. Because in this story, the drama was far from over, and the stakes only grew higher with each passing hour. The morning after the courtroom frenzy, tension lingered like a storm cloud refusing to break. Tamar arrived early, her eyes scanning the room, every movement deliberate. Fans who had camped outside overnight whispered excitedly, hoping for a glimpse of her determined face. Inside, Mendeccess sat in silence, surrounded by his lawyers, each one scribbling frantic notes, making last-minute calls, and trying desperately to predict Tamar's next move. The dynamic had shifted, and everyone could feel it. The day began with another witness, someone who had been close to Tamar for years but had stayed in the shadows. Their testimony was personal, emotional, and devastating. They recounted private moments, sleepless nights, and quiet desperation, painting a vivid picture of Tamar's struggle to protect her child while facing repeated denials. "I watched her fight every day," the witness said, voice cracking. "And every time, she carried hope in her heart that the truth would finally prevail." Mendeccess' camp tried to counter with their own witnesses, people who had once supported him publicly but now seemed unsure privately. Their testimonies were hesitant, full of contradictions, and only served to add fuel to the fire. Fans watching live streams later described the scene as a courtroom electric with tension, each revelation building on the last, each word dripping with emotion. Then came the shocking twist everyone had been waiting for. A surprise video surfaced, allegedly showing Mendeccess in a private conversation admitting doubts and fear of exposure. The clip was grainy but undeniable, and Tamar's eyes glistened with restrained satisfaction as it played. The courtroom reacted immediately. Murmurs turned to gasps, and some people whispered, "Finally." Mendeccess' face drained of color, his lips pressed into a thin line, his hands twitching involuntarily. It was the kind of moment fans live for, the kind that makes headlines and dominates social media. Outside, the frenzy reached a fever pitch. Hashtags trended worldwide, some celebrating Tamar, others speculating about the fallout. Commentators dissected every expression, every pause, and every gesture. Memes, videos, and fan reactions multiplied by the second. The story wasn't just trending, it was dominating the cultural conversation. Inside the courtroom, tensions escalated further when a heated exchange erupted between Mendeccess and Tamar's lawyer. Voices rose, eyes flashed, and emotions ran high. "You've had your chance to deny the truth," Tamar's lawyer shouted, slamming a folder onto the table. "Now you must face it," Mendeccess tried to respond, his voice shaking slightly. I never meant to," but the words faltered. The judge intervened, calling for calm, but the atmosphere was electric. Everyone felt the storm about to break, knowing the next moments could define legacies. As the day wore on, more revelations surfaced. Leaked text messages, private emails, and social media posts from years past were introduced, each one unraveling the carefully constructed narrative Mendeccess had tried to maintain. Fans described watching as a puzzle coming together in real time, pieces falling into place with stunning clarity. Each revelation added layers of betrayal, deceit, and heartbreak, making the courtroom drama even more gripping. Family members shifted uncomfortably in their seats, whispering to each other, exchanging glances that spoke volumes. Alliances fractured visibly, and emotions ran higher with each passing testimony. Tamar remained composed, a steady presence in the eye of the storm. Her poise was contrasted sharply with the visible strain on Mendeccess' face. Every fan online could sense it. The battle wasn't just legal, it was emotional, personal, and intensely public. Then, an unexpected twist. A private video recording from Tamar's perspective surfaced, showing moments of preparation, strategy, and emotional reflection. It revealed her resilience, the support network around her, and her unshakable commitment to her child. Fans erupted online, praising her strategy, calling her a force of nature, and admiring how she had anticipated every move, every counter, every attempt to discredit her. Mendeccess, meanwhile, faced mounting pressure from all sides. His lawyers whispered urgently, his friends avoided eye contact, and fans began questioning his credibility. Every step he took was scrutinized, every word he spoke dissected. Even casual observers noted the stark contrast: Tamar, calm and commanding, versus Mendeccess, flustered and defensive. The public narrative was shifting rapidly, and he was losing control. The climax of the day came when Tamars' legal team presented the final piece of evidence, a comprehensive timeline of events, communications, and corroborating statements that left little room for doubt. The room was silent, every eye fixed on the documents. Mendeccess' attempts to refute the evidence were weak, hesitant, and increasingly desperate. Fans described it later as watching a castle of lies crumble in real time, each stone falling with precision and drama. As the day ended, the family was left divided more than ever. Whispers of betrayal, regret, and guilt circulated. Emotions ran high, with some members openly expressing support for Tamar, while others quietly sided with Mendeccess, torn between loyalty and reality. The public watched closely, debates flared online, and social media became a battlefield of opinions, emotions, and viral content. Tamar's child, though absent from the courtroom, had become the center of a cultural moment. Through her courage and determination, Tamar ensured that their existence, their identity, and their rights were recognized. Fans expressed overwhelming support, calling her a hero, a warrior, and a mother who refused to be silenced. The narrative had shifted decisively, leaving Mendeccess' previous denials in the past, overshadowed by undeniable truth. Yet, even as the first major revelations concluded, insiders hinted that more drama was coming. Secret alliances, previously hidden communications, and personal confrontations promised additional twists, keeping fans on edge and speculation rampant. The story, it seemed, was far from over. The court had set the stage, but the real drama, emotional confrontations, personal reckonings, and public reactions, was just beginning. Fans around the world went to sleep that night buzzing with anticipation, knowing that tomorrow would bring new revelations, new betrayals, and possibly, more explosive drama. Tamar had not only defended her child, she had ignited a cultural phenomenon, captivating millions and proving that truth, resilience, and courage could topple even the most entrenched denials. The next morning, the courtroom buzzed with anticipation as spectators, media, and family members took their seats. Tamar arrived first, her presence commanding attention without even trying. She walked with purpose, her eyes scanning the room, her expression calm yet determined. Fans outside were already live streaming, capturing every step, every glance, every small movement, eager for the drama to unfold further. Inside, Mendeccess sat quietly, flanked by his lawyers, trying to maintain composure, but the tension around him was palpable. Whispers filled the room, "Today will be decisive," and everyone felt it in the air. The proceedings began with another surprise witness, someone who had worked closely with Mendeccess for years. Their testimony was raw, emotional, and revealing. They spoke of moments Tamar had endured in silence, the quiet pain of repeated denial, and the frustration of watching the truth be twisted for personal convenience. The courtroom hung on every word, gasps occasionally breaking the tension. Mendeccess' face remained stiff, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of unease, a crack in the armor he had built over months of public denials. Tamar's lawyer used the testimony strategically, asking pointed questions that exposed contradictions, hesitation, and even moments of deceit in Mendeccess' past statements. The crowd reacted visibly, some shaking their heads, others whispering in disbelief. The intensity of the moment was heightened by the subtle shifts in family members' expressions. Alliances continued to fracture as some relatives openly supported Tamar, while others hesitated, unsure where their loyalties now lay. The family, once seemingly united, was now a battlefield of divided emotions, confusion, and raw sentiment. Then came the most shocking revelation of the day. A series of emails, messages, and leaked audio recordings were presented, showing a pattern of deliberate avoidance and denial by Mendeccess. Fans described the moment as jaw-dropping, a turning point where the full scope of deception became undeniable. Mendeccess tried to interject, to explain, to justify, but each attempt was swiftly countered by Tamar's legal team, their evidence airtight, their strategy flawless. Emotions ran high, with tears streaming from some witnesses and gasps from those in the audience who had been following every development closely. Outside, social media erupted in real time. Hashtags like #TruthPrevails, #FinallyRecognized, and #TamarWins dominated feeds, trending globally. Reactions poured in from fans, celebrities, and commentators alike. Online, heated debates unfolded. Some defended Mendeccess, claiming he was overwhelmed, confused, or misled. Others celebrated Tamar's courage, her meticulous preparation, and her refusal to let the truth be silenced. Memes, reaction videos, and commentary clips multiplied rapidly, fueling the intensity of the public's fascination. Inside the courtroom, tension reached a boiling point when Tamar herself was allowed to speak. Standing tall, she addressed the court directly, her voice steady but full of emotion. "I have endured years of denial, whispers, and lies," she said, her eyes locking with Mendeccess. "But today, the truth has a voice. My child has a voice. And no one, no matter how powerful or stubborn, can take that away." The room was silent, the weight of her words settling like a heavy fog. Even Mendeccess seemed momentarily speechless, his mouth opening slightly before he closed it again, unable to respond immediately. The emotional climax of the day came with a private testimony from a previously silent family member. Their statements were shocking, accusing, and filled with raw emotion. They spoke of years of internal conflict, the strain of watching a child be denied recognition, and the difficult choice to finally step forward in support of Tamar. Whispers ran through the room as the family members exchanged glances, some nodding in agreement, others looking away in shame or disbelief. The courtroom had transformed from a legal arena into a stage of human drama, emotions laid bare for all to witness. Mendeccess' attempts to regain control were increasingly frantic. He tried to appeal to logic, to reason, and even to emotion, but the narrative had shifted. Fans described it as watching a man slowly lose grip, each word he spoke undermined by past actions, evidence, and the undeniable courage of Tamar. The courtroom drama had escalated beyond legal proceedings. It was now an emotional spectacle, with every gesture, glance, and word analyzed by family, fans, and media alike. As the day continued, the final twist was revealed. An unexpected witness emerged with new evidence that contradicted prior claims from Mendeccess' team. Their testimony exposed further attempts to evade responsibility and showed deliberate actions to mislead both family and the public. The room erupted into murmurs, some gasps, some audible whispers of shock and disbelief. Tamar's supporters quietly celebrated, while Mendeccess' allies scrambled to maintain composure. The courtroom, once a place of quiet tension, now buzzed with palpable drama. The media frenzy outside matched the intensity inside. Live streams captured fan reactions, debates exploded across platforms, and experts dissected every word and gesture. The story became more than just a court case, it was now a full-blown spectacle, blending family drama, public scrutiny, and social intrigue. Analysts predicted that this saga would dominate headlines for weeks, and fans eagerly awaited the next installment. By evening, the courtroom drama had reached new heights. Tamar's poise, courage, and meticulous preparation had shifted public perception, turning what was once a battle against denial into a powerful narrative of truth, resilience, and justice. Mendeccess, though still attempting to maintain some semblance of credibility, faced mounting pressure, public scrutiny, and the undeniable weight of overwhelming evidence. The emotional intensity was unmatched, with every moment feeling like a turning point in a story that would be remembered for years. As the courtroom cleared for the night, fans and media speculated endlessly. Who would break first? What new revelations awaited? Could Mendeccess recover from the mounting evidence and emotional onslaught, or was this the definitive turning point? Tamar had proven herself a master of strategy, emotion, and resilience, and the world was watching, captivated, waiting for the next explosive chapter in a saga that had already redefined drama, betrayal, and courage in the public eye. And just like that, the courtroom drama has left the world shocked. Tamar's courage, resilience, and unwavering determination have exposed truths that some tried desperately to hide, proving that denial, lies, and deceit cannot withstand the power of truth. The family may be divided, the emotions still raw, and the questions far from answered, but one thing is crystal clear: Tamar's child has finally been recognized, their voice acknowledged, and their future secured. Fans around the globe have watched every twist, every betrayal, and every shocking revelation, sharing reactions, debating loyalties, and becoming part of this real-life drama that reads like a scripted reality show. The story is far from over. Whispers of new evidence, secret messages, and family confrontations promise more explosive moments just around the corner. And if you think this is the end, think again, because in a saga like this, the next twist could come when you least expect it. Now it's your turn. What do you think will happen next? Will Mendeccess find redemption, or will Tamar continue to dominate the narrative with undeniable truth? Will the family heal, or will the betrayals leave lasting scars? We want to hear your thoughts, reactions, and predictions. Comment below and let the world know which side you're on. Don't forget to like this video if you were shocked by the revelations, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter of this unfolding drama, and turn on notifications to be the first to see every jaw-dropping update. Every comment, share, and reaction matters, because in a story this explosive, the audience isn't just watching, you're part of it. Stay tuned, stay engaged, and remember, the truth has a way of coming out, and sometimes, it's more shocking than anyone could imagine. This is just the beginning, and the next chapter promises to be even wilder. Are you ready to see what happens next?